All right, morning show with Anthony vlog. We're from the home studio today, in case you haven't noticed, and we're talking about Woodstock 50. Another bit of news here, another roadblock. They have lost Vernon Downs as their site. A request for a permit to stage a concert there has been denied by local officials. Variety, the first to report on this story. Let's go through it. It's pretty interesting. Again, what's fascinating about all of this is the Woodstock organizers just absolutely and utterly refuse to cancel this show. They won't do it. They won't do it. No matter what barriers get in the way. I think we're something like, it's July 10th. The show's supposed to be, we're a little over a month away. And they absolutely refuse to say, we've run out of time. But there is a thing that I want everybody to keep in mind, and that is that, and I keep saying this, but it's true, the artists are under contract. They have to be there. If they wind up putting this thing on at a high school gymnasium, guess what? Jay-Z is going to be there to close it out. He's contractually obligated to do so. Now, that's an extreme answer. Before you start lighting up my comments calling me an idiot, that's an extreme scenario. I'm just saying, no matter where they wind up putting this thing, the artists are contractually obligated to be there. They have to be there. So that's why I feel like there's a reluctance on behalf of the Woodstock 50 organizers. Do I think they're crazy? Yeah, I do. I do think they're crazy. But I'm trying to give you this story with as much realism as I possibly can and give you this scenario. All the artists have been paid. They signed a contract. So before you go telling me I'm crazy, I'm nuts, I'm this, I'm that, it's the reality of the situation. If Michael Lang decides to do it somewhere and he gets the approval and it's all ready to go, guess what? Jay-Z's got to show up. Miley Cyrus has got to show up. Robert Plant's got to show up. They're contractually obligated to do so, or else they got to return that money. And I don't think that they want to do that. No artist does. By the way, artists want to perform. They want to perform. They want this to be good. And I really, truly believe that they're all hoping that it will be, in fact, good. But I also don't know what it is about the scenario, the situation, sign of the times, social media, whatever it is. But I feel like people are rooting for this thing to fail. I'm not rooting for it to fail. I'm sorry. And I never will. I think this is a sad story. I know it's annoying. They refuse to go away. They're wasting everybody's time. It's going to get canceled anyway. I'm aware of all that stuff. But why we are rooting against something that was such a cultural phenomena, it deserves the respect of a 50th anniversary celebration. I feel like we all should be rooting for it, no matter how annoying this whole process has been for everybody. Grabbing some headlines. Oneida County Administrator Anthony Pacente Jr. tells Variety that while promoters have 5 days to appeal the decision, what they have submitted to date has not met many of the requirements needed to have the festival staged. He adds that the chances of Woodstock 50 being held in Oneida County seem highly unlikely. Pacente says that Vernon Downs has no camping facilities. Promoters had been planning to turn the 3-day festival into 3 individual events, with the grounds being cleared at the end of each day. He also notes that attempts to organize the event have been chaotic. Syracuse.com reports that the denial of the Woodstock 50 application came after a town board meeting in Vernon on Monday that was attended by 100 people, where local residents expressed concerns over noise, traffic, and potential vandalism that the event would bring to the town. The Poughkeepsie Journal has been phenomenal in reporting on this. And they were the only ones who got a statement from the Woodstock 50 organizers. I will read that for you in a second. But let's just think about what they're talking about here. Because typically when, I know this happens a lot on Long Island, when a town wants to do something, the first thing they complain about, oh, the traffic, oh, the noise. It's all these people. All these curmudgeons about the traffic and the noise and all this and that. It's always traffic and noise. This one, they have the potential vandalism. Here on Long Island, we tend to complain about parking. Well, it's going to bring too much traffic and it's all the noise. And then where are you going to park? Like that's immediately, we immediately go into dad mode when it comes to trying to organize cool events. I can't tell you how many concerts we've tried to have here on Long Island that we haven't been able to do because we can't get the permits through because everybody's complaining about noise and traffic. But let's look at this realistically, from a realistic standpoint. The problem really becomes with the no camping grounds, because the permit that they filed for apparently was for 65,000 people. 65,000 people. That is a lot of people. Now, if you have campgrounds, you could probably keep a good chunk of those people on the campgrounds. Even if you can do 20,000, even if you can get 15,000, whatever you can get to stay will help. Imagine 65,000 people leaving one area in this small, tiny upstate town all at once at 11 o'clock at night after a full day of drinking and God knows what other activities. I mean, it's kind of crazy. By the way, the village of Vernon in Oneida County, according to the 2010 census, take a guess how many people live in the village of Oneida. 1,172. Okay? Now you want to put 65,000 people into this area and let them and unleash them at 11 o'clock at night every single night for 3 nights in a row? I don't know. I really don't know. Now you have the infrastructure because there's Vernon Downs, there's Turning Stone, there's a couple of resort casino places, there's a few towns all around, but you're talking about people still making big commutes, again, at 11 o'clock at night after a full day's worth of music and drinking and God knows what other activities. So I hate to sound like an old guy, an old dad, an old curmudgeon here, but the town has got a legitimate gripe. Again, I want to pay respect to what a cultural phenomena Woodstock 50 is. It deserves it every step of the way. The last thing I want to do is put people's lives in jeopardy. I mean, you've got to make sure that you've got the infrastructure in place to pull this thing off the right way. And I'm sorry, but I've been to a lot of these upstates. I've never been to Vernon, but I've been to you go to one upstate town, you've been to them all. They're all the same. Unleashing that many people at the end of a night, that doesn't seem practical to me. Just doesn't seem practical to me whatsoever. Vincent Rossi is the Vernon town attorney. He said that the town found there to be a lack of planning documents included in the application. He says each application submitted, one for each of the 3 days, was 1 page long with no supporting materials. Again, we've been kind of going throughout this whole process going, well, is Dentsu crazy? Is Michael Lang crazy? Is this, is that? This guy may have a reason to lie. I don't know. But let's just believe him for a second. Why? How on earth would you expect to pull off a Woodstock event with 65,000 people when you submit a 1-page report as your application? I mean, that's just downright nutty. What are you doing? A 1-page long report? That's not going to get things done. According to several of these sources, they have 5 days to appeal this process now, appeal this decision. They're going to appeal it. In a statement to the Poughkeepsie Journal from the Woodstock 50 folks, and I'll read you and I quote, in response to the denial of an event permit by the town of Vernon, Woodstock 50 believes certain political forces may have been working against the resurrection of the festival. Local reports claim Woodstock's filing for the permit was incomplete, but that is not the case. Woodstock 50 officials were informed by the town of Vernon that most questions had been answered and asked only that Woodstock submit medical, safety, security, and traffic plans by this past Sunday, which it did. With a venue chosen, financing assembled, and many of the artists supporting Woodstock 50th anniversary event, the organizers are hopeful that their appeal and reapplication tonight will prevail without further political interference, end quote. What's the political interference? We're in the world of calling out fake news and just having a viewpoint and just screaming at the other people. I mean, this seems insane to me. What political interference? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? You could say, you can claim, they have it out for us, all you want, without even knowing if it was a one-page document, without even knowing any of that. Hey, you want to invite 65,000 people to this location? What's your plan for them at the end of the night? What's your plan? What's your plan if something goes wrong? Where are the hospital routes? Where are where's the medical, they had to ask for the safety and security plans. They had to ask for medical plans, for traffic plans. Why wasn't that in your original proposal? Why wasn't that in the original proposal? If this was your second time around the block and you're going to your second venue, you don't have some of this stuff ready? You don't have some of this stuff from the first time around that you can change and alter to fit the new venue? You submit an application. You need to be asked. This is the statement from Woodstock 50. They're telling you this. You need to be asked to submit safety and security plans? You've got to have this covered. What the hell is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? To not have that done, to not have that part of the process, I don't know what the hell these people are thinking. I just don't know. Earlier yesterday, Woodstock 50 President Gregory Peck said in a statement that plans for addressing safety and traffic concerns were not yet complete. Why? Why were they not yet complete? What are you doing? What are you doing that's so important that you can't? This is the job. This is the job. Filling out this paperwork, getting it in. This is your job right now. This is it. Forget picking out what cheese sandwich you're going to have there. Forget the pretzel options. Forget where Jay-Z's trailer is going to go. Irrelevant. Filling out the proper paperwork is your only job right now. And they can't even get that done. Vincent Rossi. I'm going to tell everybody in 2R, Vincent Rossi, you are nothing but a town attorney. Good fellas. Anybody? Rossi, 2R. Rossi went on to say that for events with a planned attendance of more than 8,000 people, the town requires an application at least 120 days in advance. So they've bypassed that. Town also requires submission of documents that detail a traffic plan, a security plan, and a number of porta potties needed. We could laugh at that all day long, but porta potties are important. Okay? When you're drinking all that beer at a concert, it's hot, waters and everything else, you better damn well have a good porta potty plan. I'll tell you that right now. Rossi said, quote, they didn't even come in the neighborhood at the time required. There's no time for us to review the documents ahead of the festival. See, that's the other thing, too. I mean, I've been involved in some of these things to a degree. In my time in radio, I've put on concerts, never at an outdoor field, though. I've put on concerts in Manhattan. I've been a part of a lot of organization. A lot of this is fluff and BS and red tape, but a lot of it is kind of important. Like you have to know, you have to have a plan. If somebody goes into cardiac arrest in the middle of this field, you have to have a contingency plan for that. You just do. If something goes terribly wrong and 100 people get sick at the same time, you need to have a plan in place. You need to make sure you're covered. We all saw what happened in 99 when the proper precautions weren't taken. You don't want a repeat of that. Woodstock 50, Michael Lang, they've been out in front of the press saying, distancing themselves from 99, saying, we want to make sure everybody's going to have a happy and safe time. Well, you're not acting like it. By your own admission, you're not acting like it. Because if you were really taking this seriously, you'd have 50 million people working on this to make sure that the town had everything that they needed. I'm sorry, but I know what it's like to be in a large organization and trying to get something done under the gun. You put yourself in a position to be undeniable. You do whatever you can to not give the other party a reason to say no. And whether the guy's lying about the one-page thing or not, it doesn't matter. You openly admitted you submitted stuff without a full, complete report. That's unacceptable. Nobody should be trusting you. Now, if I were Woodstock 50, I'd put my tail in between my legs. And I've said this before, I'd go to MetLife Stadium and I'd try and do it there. Now, I think there's a preseason Giants game there. Then go to where Buffalo plays. And if that doesn't work, go find somewhere else. See if Yankee Stadium is available. See if Citi Field is available. See if you can go to, I don't know, Erie, go to a venue that can fit a lot of people, that is part of a city that has the infrastructure. The problem is you're a little over a month away, and I don't even know if a town or a city that is equal to the task will even take you at this point. I just don't know where the end game is for Woodstock 50. But it doesn't look like they have their act together whatsoever. And that's alarming. I mean, at this point, if you're going to plunk down $400, $500, $600 for a ticket, $1,500, $2,000 for a VIP ticket, you want to know you're being taken care of. You want to know that if you're feeling sick, you can get to help. You want to know that at the end of the day, you have a place to go and sleep. That's safe. That's going to work. That's not going to get overloaded by people. You want to know that when you go flush that toilet at the end of the night, it's going to flush, and not that the septic system is going to be overrun because a town that is fit for 1,000 people now is trying to accommodate 65,000. This just doesn't look all well thought out. But again, the artists are contractually obligated to perform. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I would expect at some point in the next couple of days, probably after this 5-day process, we'll get a statement of cancellation. And for me, what'll anger me most about this is there'll be people that are like, finally, the people that are annoyed with the headlines, the people on social media that are that just bicker and complain and are negative all the time. That will drive me crazy. Because throughout this whole process, I've been fair. I've been telling you what's going on, but I've been rooting for this thing to go. Because as a music fan, in the last 50 years, there's never been a more important event than this. And there have been very few. The concert for New York City, Live Aid, there have been very few that have ever even come close, that are even in the ballpark. You know, the few I just named, they're in the ballpark as far as level of importance go. But this event was it. And it's most likely not going to get a 50th anniversary celebration. We all should be sad about that. We all shouldn't be rooting for this announcement to come. We should be sad when it comes. That's the latest on Woodstock 50. I'm assuming that in 5 days or within 5 days, we'll have some sort of an update on whether their appeal was taken or not. My guess is, judging by where we're at with all this stuff, it will be denied. And then we'll wait for their final announcement. Because the last that we heard, there was 5 or 6 venues considered with Vernon Downs. And then they went with Vernon Downs, which was the rumored one that they were going with. So are there 4 or 5 other options? I just don't know. I really don't know. That's your update right here on the Morning Show with Anthony Vlog. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you like the videos. And we'll see you tomorrow for sure.